Good afternoon. Thank you for all coming for a beautiful Memorial Day 2009 here in downtown Binghamton. My late friend, the Congressman Edwin Arthur Hall, used to tell me that when he was a kid, before the First World War, his parents would bring him to the courthouse lawn on Memorial Day, which was then known as Decoration Day, to see the Civil War veterans march up Court Street and to hear the elected officials of the day give addresses to the people, as well as candidates for office. He also told me that he grew up to continue that tradition and that every year he would come to the courthouse lawn to give an address when he was congressman representing this area from 1939 till 1953. On Memorial Day 2005, I continued that tradition by coming here to announce that I was running for mayor. And today, Memorial Day 2009, once again, I have come to the courthouse lawn to announce my candidacy for Mayor of Binghamton. I want to discuss briefly three main points: why I want to be mayor, what was proven in the last election, and what I want to see for Binghamton in the coming second decade of the 21st century. After the last election, I got a lot of compliments on the campaign I ran and a lot of encouragement to run again. I thought that people were mostly being polite and that eventually all the compliments and encouragement would stop. But it never did. Losing the last election by such a slim margin was not easy, but it was not so hard as to make me forget about my objective of establishing Binghamton's reputation as the safest and cleanest city in upstate New York, nor did it make me think that the effort was not worthwhile. It was a worthwhile effort, and I have not forgotten. I still believe that for Binghamton to meaningfully address its problems and ultimately overcome them, it must establish a good reputation, and that all starts with safety and cleanliness. I believe that long-term commitment to pursuing that kind of a goal is Binghamton's best hope for getting back on top, and that only someone with a proven long-term commitment to the city and real political independence is suited for leading that effort. Naturally, I think that I am that person. I can walk out my front door, and in 5 minutes I can be at the place where I was born and where my daughter was born. I can walk for about 10 to 15 minutes after that and be at the place where my great-great-grandparents or my daughter's great-great-great-grandparents are buried. For 15 years, I've offered publicly my ideas about improving life in Binghamton, not just around election time. I'm my own man, and that's a quality I think that's long been needed in the mayor's office, not just another front man or a yes man. You won't hear a lot of the traditional political promises from me. I'm committed to telling people what they need to know rather than just what they need to hear. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that when I am mayor, the people paying the freight will come first. That hasn't happened around here in a long time, and that has to change. So why do I want to be mayor? Not to get a job, not to get higher office, but to get my hometown back on top. What was proven during the last election? Two principal points. First, a third-party candidacy is not invariably a third-place candidacy, and with small dollars, I was able to get big results. What I mean by that is if you look at the returns from the last election, the winner stumbled across the finish line having spent over $100,000 to get about 900 more votes than I got for a shade under $15,000. And of course, the vaunted Republican candidate spent over $150,000 to come in dead last. The reason why I think that happened is not only because I had a strong message and worked hard, it was because I was careful with other people's money and I put necessity before luxury, not the other way around. And in times when you have shrinking municipal resources, Someone with a proven ability, a demonstrated ability to do that is what's needed desperately in local government, because we need to get more for less. I think I'm the only candidate who can legitimately claim to have achieved that in any meaningful way. So at this point, in 2009, we stand at the end of the first decade of the 21st century in Binghamton, and we're ready to enter into the second decade of the 21st century in Binghamton. In that first decade, politically speaking, it's been divided between two administrations. And I would say to you that in spite of the fact that there were different personalities involved in those two administrations and different party labels, unfortunately, the results have been the same, and they have not been good. The key indicator, which I think shows that, is the fact that going back to the 1980 census, Binghamton has been steadily losing upper and middle income population. So the 1980 census showed that, the 1990 census showed that, the 2000 census showed that, and the preliminary data indicates that the 2010 census will show that as well. That's a 40-year trend. 4 censuses in a row where the city has lost upper and middle income population. The reason why I think that's important is because we hear constantly from members of the political class about the need for a vibrant economy. That's the current buzzword. We used to hear about rebounds and renaissances and rebirths, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen unless you have a population with discretionary and disposable income. In other words, upper and middle income people. And as I've said, the census data indicates that's been steadily dropping, and we're looking now at a 40-year trend. So in order to bring those people back, I believe very strongly that you have to develop the kind of reputation in the city that inspires confidence in those people, and that we bring them back. The ultimate goal and the ultimate test of whether we've been successful in that effort at the end of the second decade of the 21st century will be that 2020 census. Will the 2020 census show upper and middle income population increasing again? I submit to you that if I am elected mayor and begin my term on January 1st, 2010, that the 2020 census will show that we have turned things around, that we have reversed that trend, that we have broken that string of 4 straight censuses with upper and middle income population dropping. In the more short term, what I'd like to see on November 3rd of this year is a new political alignment in Binghamton. We want to see Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, independents, and unaffiliated people who are fair-minded come together and form that new political alignment, one that's based on talent and merit and ideas, not on political patronage or payoffs, one that represents a change not just in faces at City Hall, but a change in philosophy, a philosophy that puts necessity before luxury first, not the other way around, and one that will produce the results that the taxpayers deserve, the prosperity, the progress, and the productivity that they deserve for the tax dollars that they pay. I'm the only candidate that has been able to articulate a clear vision and an achievable goal, and that is to establish the city's reputation as the safest and cleanest city in upstate New York. If we can do that, I believe we will see the results that we want to see come the 2020 census, come the end of the second decade of the 21st century here in Binghamton. And I think that here at the beginning of that decade, it's very important that we make a clean break with the recent political past. I look forward to working with all of you in order to achieve that, and hopefully in about 160 some days, we will be making that victory speech on election night, marking the commencement of Binghamton's new beginning and establishing the city's reputation as the safest and cleanest city in upstate New York. So I thank you for all attending. That concludes my formal remarks, and now I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has, the media or otherwise.